Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare today to talk about what everybody keeps talking about, the new roadmap, a bunch of things. Before I get into it, because I am going to get into what happened on it, but I'm glad, where is he in the chat here? SR Monkey, what's up? I'm glad you're here. And I thought I saw Bullstar's here as well. Bullstar and SR Monkey on the Sorare Ramble had Nico and Guy and Dan on this week. I listened to it. I finished it about 25 minutes ago. It was great. So guys, congrats on that. It was a really good show. I think we got some questions answered. And I will say that Dan and Guy have gotten really good at responding to questions without answering them. I'm just kidding. No, there was some really nice insight into what's going to happen, and we will get into that. We'll get into all of it. Don't you worry. First in, Scosmo. The decision is to build. I love that. Sir Juju said he'll take the guy with the money and the Mbappe, way to be. And Matty Sorare on the podium, spend more money and buy more cards to win more money and more cards. That's what this game's all about. Kai, appreciate you coming in. Ben Cook, 5th for Mbappe. I'll take that. Malky, I don't want Mbappe or dollars, which is fair. It's fair. Alex said, well, at least we have something to talk about with the new rare insta-buys. What's next? Alex, there's a super rare you can insta-buy right now as well. Cyber Shakes, what's up? SR Monkey said, if I had more cash, I'd be buying off people willing to sell at 60% market value. Unfortunately, my Allison and Nunez rare pickups left my wallet to dust. I thought the same thing, to be honest. So we'll see. Mike Baston, welcome back. What do you got, David? I've definitely been keeping an eye out for people offloading classic cards. Happy to play them to win new season cards to win cash next year. Yeah, we'll get into all that. Colonel Dickweed, what up? Sora Holland's in. Maddie, so Laird, did you hear that Rivals apparently you can be matched against pro cards even with full common team now? Unless you are from France or UK, they will be playing common versus common. I did hear that, and I think it's the right move, to be honest. But I can appreciate why you don't love it, since you dominate common games. Jordan, what's up? And let's see, John Andrews. Tom, good evening, morning, afternoon. Evening, morning, afternoon. I wouldn't have written it that way, but that's interesting, since that is chronologically correct. Daniel Cooper, super excited to listen to the Sorare Ramble this afternoon. Honestly, the best part is that Haber wasn't there. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I absolutely love Ryan Haber. And I was, to be honest, I was a little disappointed he wasn't on it, because there's just fun to hear Haber's thoughts on things. So TS said, seems like Sean wasn't wrong at all with buy more. Nobody said he was wrong before even. So man, it's like people still coming in. I really appreciate this, guys. Parrot Press, what's up? Red or Dead, hello. So yeah, okay. Thank you everyone for coming in. It does really mean a lot to have you guys tune in to every show, to be honest. And so this one particularly, since I'm here by myself. So Florian, do you like the update or don't like it? Because many people don't like it, but I love it. So this is all we're going to talk about today. If you had any inkling that it was going to be something else, I'm sorry. Of course, we also know it's Friday and we can go anywhere with this, but I have no idea if I like it or not. I do appreciate that Sorare in its current form couldn't continue from like a sustainability standpoint. Do I think that the game itself needed to be changed significantly? I guess. I've heard some people say it gets kind of, it's gotten kind of stale for them. And it's, I don't know. And I think I made the thumbnail for this to make it seem like the decisions now are about whether you play for cards or you play for cash. And before we even get to that, the decision really is, do you want to play this game anymore? And I think that's what we need to start with. Ben Cook said it was funny seeing people come out of the woodwork in the Discord to announce they're leaving after not having posted there since 2022. And Blue Tomatoes wanted to talk about donuts and pineapples, and I'm sorry, that's just not this show. So SR Monkey said, I love parts, like parts. I love parts, like parts, and dislike parts. Pretty much what an update should be, which is actually kind of funny because that's totally fair. Carrie, don't worry. Don't worry. I'm usually the one who's late. I might have been late today, actually. I don't know. But anyway, so there was a tweet by Brose Canseco that I was tagged in saying that basically everyone's saying this update is great, but nobody, and he like listed a few people. Gator Guy was on it, Nep, and he was like, nobody's buying cards, which was a little weird because like Gator Guy spent a ton on 2 cards right after the announcement. But I'll at least, I don't love talking about myself a lot on these shows, even though I probably do it a ton and don't realize it. But all I know is my own opinion and what I'm trying to do with my gallery now with this new change. And so I'm going to, if you'll indulge me for a little bit, I haven't done anything. I actually bought a card the day before the announcement, which felt epically stupid, but I just couldn't resist it. I don't think we have any, I don't think you can look at the roadmap and be like, I know exactly what I'm doing. And so I'm going to go buy cards for that plan right away. August is a long time from now. It's February 9th right now. And we even have the change in March at the end of March. And there's a decent amount of time until then. So making decisions now that will affect you in August, I think, as much as we pretend you can like long-term play Sorare, it's just, that's a long time. Like things can change. And I think there are still a lot of questions unanswered, potentially because Sorare don't have the answers yet, that could make the decisions you make today look really silly in August, September, October, in the future. So the thing that I was going back to, it seems like there are a few general parts of the announcement that some people don't like. And I think the big one was the removal of All-Star and how the divisions were split up. And I wanted to touch on that because while listening to the Sorare Ramble with, it might have been in the part with Guy and Dan, Dan kind of said it early, and he was like, I think we underplayed the importance of special weeklies. And I think that's true because it does feel like they have since at all of these questions that people come up with, what about this? And what do we do with these cards? And like, how do I do this? And they're just like, special weeklies. Don't worry, we'll have a special weekly for that. And the one that I think was one of these situations where they were like providing an answer that didn't actually answer the question, or at least it didn't address it. But I think it was Chris who asked it. And it was basically like, there are some people who have Argentina, cards from Argentina and cards from Brazil, and now they can't play them in the same competition because Brazil cards are in challengers and Argentina cards are in contenders. And so what do those people do? And the response that Guy gave was, and Chris kind of followed that up with, there's still Copa Libertadores and Sudamericana. And the response from Guy was, when those competitions happen, and this kind of applied to the midweek stuff when there's Champions League or Europa. And so the response was, when those competitions happen, we'll have special weeklies where you can play those cards together. And while that's fine, and I think the appropriate plan, that's not why people bought those cards. Like, they didn't buy Argentina and Brazil cards to play midweeks for Copa Libertadores or Sudamericana. They played them for when they have their domestic league matches on weekends. And now you cannot do that. And just saying, oh yeah, they can play in the midweeks in Sudamericana or whatever. There are plenty of cards from Brazil and from Argentina from teams that do not play those. And so if the response is like, oh yeah, you can play those during the midweeks, and it's like, well, maybe they don't play in the midweek. They're not good enough for Sudamericana or Libertadores. And so now they're split on the weekend. So I get it. Like I get the response because they're like, don't worry, you'll still be able to use them. But it's like, I can't use them the same way I used to. And good or bad, that's different. And there's really not a solution for that. And if the solution is just like, yeah, you can't do that. So sell one and get cards from the other, like, okay. But I do think this whole like, no, the special weeklies will solve that. And it's like the special weeklies are definitely not going to solve everything. Red or Dead said the decision to put Denmark above Argentina is ridiculous. Splitting up the champion America between challengers and contenders is not user friendly in my opinion. So this is kind of a funny outcome with all of this is that Argentina, and I say this as someone with a decent amount of cards from Argentina, like, and I think Vitali talked about this a little bit on, or he was in the chat for Sorare Andrews yesterday, and they did a French stream on it. If you were going to essentially like promote a league from challengers, from contenders to challengers, like Argentina is not even close. Like Austria is ahead of it, and Croatia might even be ahead of it. Like it really, it's not there. And so I think because we were so used to like River Plate stack smashing, and there was a time that like you just needed Boca and you were good. And we get this idea that these leagues and these teams are better on kind of a, when comparing them to all leagues than they are. And it's just not true. And so I get the frustration that Argentina is not in challengers, but based on the leagues that are there, it doesn't belong there. And you can argue all you want, but there are basically no metrics that say they should be there. And Denmark does. Like the top teams in Denmark are better than basically all of the challenger ones. 222 silent viewer, which is not so silent anymore, said the biggest problem for me is that Austrian Bundesliga is in Contender. Why? Colonel Dickweed said, I wonder how many months or years it will take my brain to be able to differentiate between the names challengers and contenders. We'll be done 2 days. Don't worry. Sorry, I was catching back up. Daniel Cooper said, I don't get why it's so hard to just sell the cards that don't work together and buy more cards that work together. Not sure why this is dramatic. Sure, it's a little bit annoying. So I'm on that side that like, yes, you're gonna have to you have to adjust. But that goes now back to the original point of the show that or at least the initial one that I wanted to bring up, is we now know what Sorare looks like in 7 months, 6 months, 6 months. Do you want to play that game? And if you don't. Like if you look at the landscape, classic cards to win cards, new cards to win cash, 3 competitions with U23 and kind of in the background, division structures. Like if you look at all of that and you think that's not the game I want to play, then don't play it. Like that's what you have to decide. I'm not here to like convince you that this is the greatest game ever and that what they have in 6 months' time is going to be the greatest thing. I don't know. I think it's really interesting, and I like the game that I play now. And I think that the game that we play in 6 months really isn't that much different. Obviously, the structure is very different, but it still comes down to using these JPEGs that score fantasy points based on real life football games to win prizes. That doesn't go away. And so if all of the changes are just so negative and you're like, this is no longer what I want to do, don't do it. It's okay. It's okay to not play anymore. But I think it's a really interesting game structure. And I think what drew us to the game originally, what drew a lot of us to the game is still there. Bullstar said, I think my assumption was that there will be a regular variation of All-Star in the specials from Guy's response, either capped or regular All-Star. It did seem that way, with like the midweek ones being a little more special, but like I worry how much they haven't figured out yet. Now we have time, so don't worry about it. But it's I think that there are going to be points. Like, I think that there are going to be some special weeklies that are just total misses, that they do them and we all are like, oh, okay. And then we go to play it and we're like, this really, like, this is not solving the problem of all of these cards now being useless, and they'll adjust. And that's a positive, like that they have this flexibility of, we're going to look at these special weeklies. And if one of them's super successful, like for everyone's happy, they're making money, like they'll keep doing them. But we just don't know. Parrot said we can't argue with real life football rankings. You can argue all you want. What's really funny actually about that, so thank you for saying that, because they tried to make it sound like it was a what's the word I'm looking for? They tried to make it sound like it was a quantitative analysis. They're like, yeah, we're using these like Opta rankings, and it's like the Opta rankings are quantitative as far as whoever created them. Like, they decide what's important in them. So there's no, I mean, it's quantitative in the fact that it's like a number, but all they have to do is be like, actually, this thing that goes into our formula is more important, and that's what makes it qualitative. Anyway. Ollie said selling cards isn't as easy as you make it sound. That's not true at all. Selling cards are very easy. Selling cards for like as much money as you want for it is different, though. Carol said, I'm wondering whether we'll have MLS Specialist open till March 29th. Was looking forward to it. I don't know about that. I thought they were ending them immediately, but Glenn says, am I right in thinking All-Star, Rare Pro, etc. exist until August? You are not. All-Star will exist until August. Rare Plus is gone in March. Well, April, basically. Daniel said, do you think first in Division 1 always gets a better card than first in Division 3, even if they're both star rewards? Yes, I do. I don't have that confirmation from Sorare, but I do believe that will be the case. Maddie said, try selling the supers you don't need anymore and buy the ones you need. So that's the other thing. We don't really know what we need and what we don't need. Like, they're going to be, and this actually goes back to the special weekly thing, that there are going to be midweeks where you're going to say like, oh man, if I had just kept that whatever card, then it would have been like, I would have been fine. But now it's like, now I don't have a card for it because I've sold my Brazil goalkeeper for an Argentina one. But Server said it's hard because everything is down in value for most cards. Lots of people didn't care about that because they weren't looking to sell, but now you have to deal with the reality of the market. That is true. I'll give you that. That a drop in values, really affects the people who looked at the game and they're like, actually, I don't want to play this. I'm done. If you are staying in the game, I just think people look at the value of their cards too much. They look at absolute value of their cards and not relative value to what else they could do in the game. And if you're staying in the game, it's the relative value that matters. Halogen said, let's not pretend we're not already changing our strategies every other game week anyways. Yeah, agreed. So David Taylor, I don't believe it's adapt or die. I think it's adapt or leave. And it's okay to leave. Like, it's okay. Red or Dead said, I understand the ranking to a point, but I enjoyed the fact that I could play over the summer with cards from MLS and South America and that they were interchangeable. I mean, just move from Argentina to Brazil. But yeah, I get that. Like, I get it. I totally get it. Steph said old cards will be worthless. In-season prize pool size watched by a regular in France. How can Sorare make it with new cards sell and license deal costs, mass market DFS? So I think one of the biggest aspects that people are ignoring is old cards are basically, they're not the only way, but the old cards will be the predominant way to win new cards. And if you don't want to spend all that money on the auctions for new cards that people are going to go after because they can win cash, you can win those new cards and sell them. Like there will absolutely be a market for new season cards that you will mostly just like, it would be, it's not unnecessary, but it's kind of like the rare plus issue now. So people bought super rares for rare plus, and now Sorare is like, oh, but you could just play them in rare competitions. And it's like, I just spent twice, 4 times, 10 times more for the super rare version of this card. And if I wanted to play it in the rare competition, I would have just bought the rare. That's how we're going to start feeling about new season cards in classic competitions. Why would you play a new season card in classic competitions when you can sell that for who knows how much more and just buy the cheaper version, which is just the same player, but the old season, to win new season cards? John said, the key is I can now explain the game easier to people. With the old model, I just felt like it was a waste of my time telling them about it. Existing users can adjust. New users should understand it better. So somebody bring that back. Like the All-Star thing. I'll get to that in a second. Somebody remind me about All-Star later. Blue Tomato said, how special is a special weekly if it's every week? So it's funny you say that. I thought the exact same thing listening to the Sorare Ramble when they were like, oh yeah, we'll have a special weekly for that. Oh, well, the special weekly will take care of that. Oh, well, we'll have special weeklies. Just, they need to call them something else. Shaforkle said, we need All-Star in any shape because small players need to at least think this jackpot element now that the threshold is gone. So I think the jackpot element will always be there thanks to these reward boxes. I also think the reward boxes may actually be underplayed more than the special weeklies. And like, I don't think we are appreciating that reward boxes are going to be a gigantic part of this game. Like, there's going to be content about it. People are going to open up the reward boxes. Nanzo's going to have 10-hour streams when he opens the 39 boxes that he gets every game week. Like, they're going to be a very, very, very big part of this game. But the All-Star thing was, excuse me, Harry and Quinny were talking about it today on the Deadline stream. And they were like, you had this idea that you could, sorry, it's like something shaking on my desk here, that you could basically win the best with 5 like random shitters. And it just like doesn't happen. I think one of the things that we keep, and I don't want to like kill the jackpot dream, but like, I think this new gameplay actually is a more accurate, like it gives us a more accurate reflection of what can actually be won. Because even in the instance that you like, even in the instances where you smashed a game week and won something, like one All-Star rare or whatever it was, your odds of winning the best prize possible was still so low. And I think the new structure almost allows us to see that better. And maybe people don't like that because they don't like that they're like shown that you have such a small chance of winning the best prize. But that's what I think we need that realism. Sora Holland, which is convenient that you're bringing this up, that the Eredivisie passed Ligue 1 last year. That has switched back, I believe. I also do like that they now call it Champions instead of Champion Europe, because it allows them to put MLS in there when MLS passes Ligue 1. Nils said, with old cards, you can still win cash, but the cash is in the in-season cards you win with old cards. Sell the in-season cards for cash and keep playing the classic ones. Exactly. Like, you're not directly winning cash, but you are definitely winning cards that could be sold for cash. Red or Dead said, by the way, I'm not negative about the structure changes. I see that the threshold farmers are upset, and ultimately this must be a good thing. Having just won my second rare Threshy thanks to Jorge Brown. Oh, shout out to Jorge Brown. Isco said, hey, bought my first super rare today. Hopefully I'm planning properly. Let's go. I remember when I bought my first super rare, it was like the scariest day in my so rare life. Shout out Albert Rusnak. Scosmo said, pivot your gallery. This is when the community is going to regret, and maybe we retrace from adopting the trade mentality of 120% to mutually beneficial trades. So thanks for, I wanted to talk about that too. Let's go into it. The number of smart trades I'm seeing now is great. I did one yesterday. It actually wasn't even that smart. Somebody proposed it to me and I just accepted it. But shout out to Black and Mickey Fu. They did a trade today and it was like, hey, you have a card that I want that helps my gallery where it is now with the new structure. I have some cards that should help you. Do you want to trade them? Yes. Bang. Let's go. Maddie said half of my super rares are 2 Bundesliga. Half is, do they call it 1 Bundesliga or just the Bundesliga? I have to decide for one. Otherwise, if there are no special weeklies, I have to play them in rare. Yes, you have to decide. Ian said, do we know if the special weeklies events require new cards? We don't. And I will guess Sean is like telling everyone like, oh yeah, they're going to do special weeklies and then we'll find out we'll need new season cards. I imagine some of them will, but I don't think that all of them will. Like, I think they're going to be different every game week. Well, I mean, obviously they'll have some that, you know, this week's 240 all-star go nuts, blah, blah, blah. And then in 3 weeks we have the same one. But I think that they're going to be different. Yeah. So some may require a new season. Yeah. And if they do, maybe they offer prizes that don't exist in others, jerseys or experiences or whatever. Daniel said, for the first places in different divisions, I like how they edit the star prize. I hope they edit the star prize pool to show this. Division 3 champ prize pool shouldn't show Mbappe if you can't win it. I have no confidence this will happen. I agree with you. Absolutely. I think the problem is that maybe I was going to say, I wonder if the rule is not that the Division 1 winners have to be more than the others, but that the others can't be more than Division 1. So like what happens if in the first week, the top in every division wins Mbappe? What happens then? Obviously the people in Division 4 are pumped, but the Division 1 people are like, wait, I won Division 1 and I got the same prize. Is that not actually the same? Because there'll be reward boxes on top and all this stuff. I'm with Scosmo here. Let's all help each other by exchanging equal value of regions with each other so we can pivot into the right regions that work. Yeah. Red or Dead said 2 things I'm not enamored with is the midweek specials and reward boxes. I think we're all just going to love reward boxes, honestly. We might get sick of them eventually, but I think early on, we're just going to absolutely love them. Q said, for collections to this major update in August 2024 that we will adapt again, but a year after the major update, they will again have a major update. No permanent setup in their structure. The reason they have not had a permanent structure is because the ones that they had didn't work permanently. Like they were not going to work forever. You would rather them reiterate and keep going as opposed to stay with a plan that leads to the platform dying. Disco, is my understanding you can play 5 super rares in a rare comp. I don't think there's any limit because there's no scarcity bonus. So it shouldn't matter. Let's see. Ollie said collection bonus could be OP in the old season modes. No more new season XP to remove the advantage. I mean, you can play new season cards in old season. It just doesn't seem to matter. Maddie said, I know this is not about rivals, but do you know where I can read about how the matchmaking works from now on? I would like to understand why I'm matched against 400 ELO less. I don't, to be honest. I don't know. Mohammed said, I feel great about this. I feel happy about the update since my gallery is Champ Europe and Premier League heavy. I think if based on all of the cryptic tweets and stuff, if you went heavy Champ 2 months ago, including the Premier League, I think we all knew it. We all knew it. We just didn't want to play that game, and that's okay. That's okay. Alex said, I see reward boxes leading to inevitable disappointment a lot of the time, but that's on the user. Like if you win like whatever the lowest box is and you're like, I can't believe I didn't win Mbappe. Like, come on. Daniel said the Premier League limited in-season competition has a $1,500 jackpot, which is huge. I don't think you can make a 5-man team worth that. Is that how much it is? Like first place is for this weekend? Oh, I got an offer on a card. Let's see. Is it going to show up in the... I can't... Oh, here it is. I can't even... For limited, right? Prize pool. Yeah, 1,500. Let's go. Let's go. Like, is that bad? Why does somebody keep trying to buy my Serginho Dest custom series card? Anyway. Halogen said, your friends who only care about the Premier League can start there, learn the game, and then discover the other leagues. So many new people are going to join. I'm absolutely sure. You know what? They could also just not discover the other leagues, and it's okay. Q said Messi is now in Challenger. That is correct. And Mike said winning a competition only gave you a chance at winning the best reward, but it was never a guarantee. That's right. Yes. Sorare Malta. I'm Sorare Malta. Been a while since caught you live. Yeah, welcome back. I lost a lot of interest in the game in the last few months, but this update has completely got me back in. Love this new structure. Old win, new win, cash repeat. Welcome back. And I mean, welcome back to Sorare. Welcome back to the streams. Thank you for coming in, Sorare Malta. Alex said, I still have no aspirations to progress beyond rares. Will never be worth the outlay to me. Okay. Nobody's making you. Ben said, if I can get a super rare through winning them, I'll probably pursue it eventually. I can't see myself putting the cash in to move there, though, to Alex's point. I think that's fine. And Alex said the insta buys were a bug. Great. Just when we got all excited. Lucas said, why do you read all the comments and always jump mine? Well, I don't read all the comments, but let's see. I'll scroll back, Luca. What did you say before? Oh, here we go. Oh, this one. Do you think the European Cups will reflect the 3 different competitions? UCL equals champion, Europa League equals challengers, CC equals contenders. Do you think the European Cups will reflect? No, I don't. I mean, if that's the case, wouldn't like Copenhagen be in champions? I think how they have it now is fine, unless I'm misunderstanding, which happens all the time, to be honest. Ricky said reward boxes sound good on paper, but I imagine the chances of winning cards in them will be low. But they should be low. And so what? We're still winning things. Like, why are we getting so greedy? Ben said, I tend to think this structure will scale well and be the more or less permanent structure of the game. Yeah, the problem is like we just have no idea. So we'll see. SR Monkey said games release updates far more regularly than yearly. Some do it monthly, so I don't think Sorare are exactly changing the goalposts regularly. I agree with that. I agree. Isco says being able to play all my eventual super rares and rare changes my plans big time. Then does that change them? Like you are going to buy them more or less? Looking for food said if divisions go well, could it work in NBA and MLB? I have no idea. I have not played NBA enough this season to even consider it. I don't know. I feel like NBA is just a weird spot because it's not about just having the best cards. It's about having the free time. Let's see. Match Low said, it's cool to see Sorare Malta being back. I'm just so sick of all these Twitter dudes who just do nothing but cry. So there are plenty of people on Twitter who negatively responded to this update that were completely like valid. And I just realized that I haven't read MPen's write-up yet. I tried to do that beforehand and I couldn't. But I've heard it's phenomenal. So I'll do that immediately after this. And MPen, here's a little breaking news, will be on the show on Tuesday. It's going to be me, Gator Guy, and MPen talking, you'll never believe this, talking about the roadmap update. Let's see. Maddie said, oh, he's still on the Rivals thing. Maddie, basically, they just want you to buy all the super rares and everything. Sorry, just trying to check up on the chat. Agent Cooper said the Contender region seems to have the most at stake. It's being looked at as the trash region after this update. Prices for those players are dropping quickest. I hope it has good rewards. So we talked about it on Sorare Andrews yesterday, that like the Franco Armani prices were tanking. I agree. Like people are responding with their wallet basically to teams in Contender as if you cannot win anything. Like the same people who would only play J League and K League and Liga MX are now like, well, can't win anything now. I'm out. And it's like, the other thing, and I don't know if I feel bad saying, well, whatever. I was talking to Surfula about this yesterday because he has a very Argentina heavy gallery. And he was like, the problem with Contenders for him now is he's going to win cards he doesn't want. And he used to just play his River Plate stack in Champion America because he was like, I was getting a card from America that I can use. And obviously, if you're in Contenders, you're going to be able to get a card that you can use in Contenders. And the slight benefit of the way that the calendar works out and what Sorare have said, that basically you can only win cards from leagues that are in play that game week. So if you have like a River Plate game or an Argentina game week where they're playing, it's in the summer and either they're the only one or it's like them and just Liga MX, like you're going to only be able to win prizes from those teams. And there's enough crossover with K League and J League that you'll get some of those as well. But I do think that's kind of a slightly overlooked thing, that if you're like concerned that you're going to win cards, and I love everyone's optimism. They're like, I win cards all the time, when they like really don't. But they're like, when I win a card, I want it to be something I can use or want. And while that one won't always be the case, you will be able to get, there are better chances that you will get something from the league that you play your cards in, because that's the ones that are playing that game week make up the prize pool. So Isco said, I'll buy more super rares because I was understanding that it was one per lineup. No, I'm almost certain you could play 5 uniques in the limited division if you want. Stefan said, why do you think there should be in-season U23? What if you scouted a few players years ago, they're all on level 20, you want to play them together because you can only play one? Classic is okay for U23. Did I say that? I don't remember saying anything about U23 other than, actually, I don't think I brought this up. Did I talk about U23 already? I'm sorry. I'm like behind on the chat. I'm asking questions that I'm not going to get to for another 10 minutes. I said this before. I'll say it again. I think Sorare wanted to get rid of U23. I think they looked at the idea that people were like, no, we like U23 because we can scout the younger players and then use them. And I think that they were like, well, you can still scout these U23 players. And then when they become good, they're good. And you'll have all this utility. You got them for cheap. Like, I really think they wanted to get rid of U23. And the way that they're presenting it, like the question was, this was from the Sorare Ramble. I think the question was like, why is there only classic U23 and not in season? And they're like, yeah, we talked to a lot of people and they just like love U23. So we have it. And it's like, that's not the question. And I'm going to do an entire show on U23 because my opinion keeps going back and forth on it, like if it's worth playing or not. But that's not for right now. So we'll see. Rikamon said, I can't wait for the December show talking about how good or bad this update has gone. Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of hours to fill, so we'll see. Isco said, Contender region has a lot of potential. How many Argentina players go straight to the top 5 EU leagues? I mean, is it really that many? Sorry. Here we go. What's my favorite and most hated part of the update? Rikomon said the removal of island games has been ignored. It hasn't been ignored. Special weeklies. And I say that both facetiously and truthfully. They will have special weeklies for those. Like, I don't think we will lose utility. The prizing might be garbage, but anyway. Toby said, I'm buying in a challenger. The prices are too good not to. Yeah. I think I need a contender super rare goalie, which just sounds awful. Let's see. Blue Tomatoes, I feel like you had like there's like 3 different comments. Sorry. Max said, just started playing a week ago, so this should be fun. Max, welcome. Welcome aboard. Let's have some fun. Ben said, I've gotten some steals on some contender guys. Yeah, I think if you want to play contender, there are a lot of opportunities right now to get some really good cards. Fling Flong said, why would they want to get rid of the tournament that ages out the fastest, leading to buying new cards sooner? To be fair, or they should be in love with it. Why would they want to get rid of the tournament that ages out the fastest? Like U23, they're not getting rid of it. But I mean, I feel like, why would they? I think I don't think they see the necessity in having a global, like, it's now a global competition. It's also different than all the others. Not that it's like confusing, but it's like the one-off. It's like turning into the rare pro or rare plus, excuse me, of, it's that there'll be some nice graphic and they're like, oh yeah, and we have U23. Daniel said the community could just decide that contender is the best, and then they'd have the higher priced. They'd be higher priced than champion. I mean, they could. I don't think that happens. So Rub gets this right. U23 is the only competition now in which cards from lower leagues will be able to win a new season cards from top leagues. It's a high value comp. So the great thing about All-Star is that you could have like 5 players from leagues that nobody's heard of and win the best prize, right? That's U23 now. You can get 5 contender U23 cards and win Jude Bellingham. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? That's why I struggle with like thinking that U23 had this huge hit, and we're now 45 minutes in, and I just remembered like another point I wanted to talk about. Surface, he's mpen10 on Twitter. So if you go there, he links to it. All right, let me catch up. Alex Wilson, I was looking at Hansen. So Colonel Dickweed said the prize pools have been finicky even for the stable comps in midweek, so I'm a bit worried about these special weeklies being handled well on the fly. I have reservations as well. Yeah. Toby, please, guys, stop with the Andre Hansen stuff. Sorry, I'm still just catching up on the chat. Most people have seen. Currently debating whether to sell my River Plate stack and reinvest into a strong Prem team or to hold fire and see what happens. That's Tom. Tom, play however you want. Forget about the specific values right now of your River Plate stack versus a strong Prem team. If you would rather compete in a Premier League only competition, do that. And if you want to use your River Plate cards to win cards, to sell, or to play contender cash, do that. I think this is where we have to decide what we want to play. And if the way you think of it is just, I want to win the most money, then the most money is in the Premier League new season comps. And you can just go from there. But if you hate the Premier League or you just don't care about it and you love River Plate, you might actually be more successful, even from a return perspective, keeping the River Plate guys. So Carol said, so practically the triple C structure, champions, challengers, contenders, goes only in weekend game weeks, and in midweeks and international breaks, there will be some not precisely described yet competition extravaganza. Yes, that's exactly how it works. And Rob is right. U23 is the new All-Star. DJ said, I got my first ever podium this week in limited 220. Let's go. Although that was the last week of the month long, right? Agent Cooper, Laird, when you smash contender and you inevitably win classic card D1, do you keep your new in-season Barco reward or sell him, presuming he's the best reward? I don't know. I'll see what happens at the time. But I could just use him maybe to win cash. Forkel says, Legend says we have one new player this year. We didn't believe it until now. Welcome. Welcome, Max. Off topic, got any suggestions for learning to use Streamlabs? Determined to use it over the next week. I don't use Streamlabs, so I don't. The Good Place said, I feel they overpaid so much for the Champ EU licenses that they are purposefully destroying the appeal of anything that the community previously ranked ahead of it. They're probably, I assume they're much more expensive, but they're also that the leagues that a majority of the world cares about. Like they have to, like the game doesn't exist without, or doesn't thrive without like getting as many people involved. And like, those are the leagues that the most people are interested in. That doesn't mean that they won't also be interested in other leagues down the line. But like when I came in, all I watched was the Premier League. And now I don't give a shit about it. Q said, what will happen now to the utility of the Sorare coins that we have? I have no idea. I have John Nellis in the house. Speaking of handsome men. This goes to say people are forgetting to play for fun. I agree. Let's see. Daniel Cooper said you can enter 18 lineups in each scarcity with just Prem cards. 6 for Prem, 6 for Champ, 6 for U23. Each split 3 in season, 3 classic. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hold on, somebody. Yeah, Daniel, it's only 17 because there's no Champ, there's no cash U23. Still a lot, though. So the other thing I want to talk about, and it kind of goes back to the discussion that PSU fans 2 and I had on Monday, where he was like, U23 got killed. And the argument, that's right, sorry, 15, not 17. I was like, well, that's just the way that we look at it, that just because something didn't change doesn't mean it gets worse. And on the Sora Ramble, I don't remember who said it, whether it was Dan or Guy, and it might have been I don't think it was Nico. But they described it as a new game. And that's when something clicked, completely unrelated to what they were actually talking about. But I think we need to look at the in-season competitions as a completely new game to what we had previously. And I realize that sounds really dumb because, like, obviously it's new. But the reason why we need to think this is I'm struggling to like put this into words. As Halogen said, U23 got killed, but you can play it 2 more times each game week. Yeah. So obviously the classic competitions are different than what we have today. You know, we lose All-Star, we get rid of the cap competitions. This is what happens in August. I'm going to focus on that, not necessarily March. Thresholds are gone. But we still have, you know, champion Europe, champions, contenders, challengers, and we compete against each other to win cards from those. U23 is the same, and now they're adding Premier League, Bundesliga, and La Liga. And if there was a situation where a third-party site launched this game and they were like, hey, we're partnering with Sorare, but you can win cash. We don't have any cards to give away, but we have all this cash. Use your new Sorare cards to compete on our website to win cash prizes. And this does not exist right now. And it's different than Sorare Mega and what was the other one? Whatever the other one was, apologies. Or even Sorare Data Leagues, where that was a third-party site where you use your cards to win other cards. But now we have this new site that's like, hey, win cash on our site. Use your new cards. Like, don't worry about us. Just get your new cards however you want to get them, and then come over to our site and win cash. And Sorare is like exactly the same. I mean, it's the same in respect of use cards to win cards and podiums get cash. And we all sit there and we're like, all right, cool. Like, Sorare brag. Thank you, Mike. Not one shot. Yeah. So we sit there just like we did with Bragg or Mega, and we set our lineups on Sorare, and we go in and we set them so that we can try to win cards, and with the hope that we get a podium where we get additional cash. Most of us don't. And then when we're done with that, we go over to this other site, sorarecash.com or whatever the hell it's called, and we submit our lineups there. And there we compete for cash. And if that happened, we'd all be like, wow, this is really cool. And there's a gigantic difference, but I'll get to that in a second. But we'd be like, wow, like I can use cards to win cards and I can use cards to win cash. This is great. That's all this is, except it's all under Sorare. And somebody's going to be like, wait a minute. The big difference is that when you competed in Sorare Data Leagues or on Sorare Mega or Bragg, I could use the same card once. Like I could use one card on Sorare, Sorare Mega, Sorare Bragg, and Sorare Data Leagues. And obviously now you need 2. Yes, you do. Sorry. But the core gameplay of Sorare right now is using cards to win cards. Yes, the threshold changes it, but again, you're only using 5 cards each week to do that. And yes, there are podiums. But that, other than the threshold, like obviously that's a gigantic part. Like other than this threshold, the way the game works is the same. The competitions are titled differently, and where you can use your cards is a little different. Like we're still using cards to win cards, except now what we could win, what we win can be used to win cash somewhere else. So it's a totally new game. And if you don't want to play that game, that's okay. You don't have to buy a bunch of new season cards to try to win cash. You could win new season cards and just play them in the classic competitions to win more cards. That's okay. Like you don't have to play the cash. And so when you are in the mindset of seeing new competitions and you're like, I have to play those, Now you start comparing them to the old ones. And now when you're comparing them to the old ones, you're like, man, this new one's so much nicer. And it's like, okay, you can do both. But that doesn't make the old one worse. It just means it's the same. And you have this other thing on top. And so this whole like the classic old cards are dead now. It's like old cards are exactly the same. And now a completely new thing exists, and you can use different cards for those. And yet somehow everything's dead. Oh, Brose Canseco brought you up earlier. On the new game subject, I think Sorare could have kept all current competitions the same for classic cards, then have the new game system comps for all in-season cards and less complaints. So there's no way that works. Like you can't have it's so much easier if the things are exactly the same, except one is cash and one is cards. You can't have All-Star and Cap 220 and Champion Europe and then go to the cash competitions and be like, no, now it's contenders, and like it doesn't work. Agent Cooper, do you think the Midtjylland owners called up Sorare and threatened, if you dare put us in contender, we're leaving? Denmark is one of the wealthiest countries. Argentina club football on its knees. I don't think they had to do that. No, I think it was just obvious that Denmark would be in contender, in challengers. Excuse me. So yeah, that was ultimately the issue I had with saying that like the old either U23 was dead. Although hold on, there was a comment before. Toby said U23 got nerfed, but it didn't get killed. Those cards are the most sought after. U23 didn't have the best cash rewards before. So like, how did U23 get nerfed? Like, how is it worse? You could argue it's now like more competitive, but I don't think it got nerfed at all. It's the same. If anything, the U23 got better because it's now the only global competition, and people like love global competitions. Sorry, I just saw that Igor had a terrible game. Anyway, so yeah, it's just the game is obviously not the same, but you can play the same. Excuse me, let me start that all over. The game is very much not the same. But for a lot of people, you can play the game very similarly than you previously did. And so Toby said, I still think U23 relatively got worse. Again, it's just like a difference of opinion. Like I just look at it as it's the same and other things got better. So like relatively sure. But I'm like, I don't know why I'm comparing them anyway. Agent Cooper said U23 got better with the coverage of Olympics confirmed swings and roundabouts. I do wonder what they'll do about that. Like U23 is going to be a giant problem for them because they're specifically trying to like mirror real world football. Like the example was like players in the Euros will have to play in special week. Like you'll play those cards in special weeklies instead of like the whatever regional competition they're in. You said, why do you think Sorare needed to have this major update all at once? Well, it's not really all at once. It's 9 months, 6 months from now. But I don't think that there was a way to piecemeal these changes. I think they tried and it just didn't work. And if they wanted the game to go in a certain direction, why not just do it all? Why not have a major change? Because it is definitely major. I'll give there's no avoiding that. But yeah, I don't know. So that's basically to bring this back to the beginning, that the decisions we have to make today are very far from, do I play for cash or cards? And while that's a consideration for sure, I think the first thing you have to do is look at all the changes. And let me rephrase that. Don't even look at the changes. Forget about what Sorare looks like right now in the game you've been playing. Look at that that chart that Vita created. It looks like this. Hold on. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry for those listening. This is the chart. So look at this chart, and admittedly, it's a bit. In fact, don't even look at all of them. Look at this. Do you want to play this game? And obviously, you know, where your cards are. Like, we have tons of time if you're waiting until August. And if you want to wait till March 29th, it's still weeks away to get your cards in order to compete in these new competitions. But again, All-Star is still around until August, so like it's fine. Do you want to play this game? And if the answer is no, don't play it. And if the answer is yes, buckle up and start working. That's all I got. Scosmo says, forget now, get ready for tomorrow. Yeah. We got some work to do, guys. For all of the existing users that are here, there's work to do. And we need to figure out what to do with what we have right now and turn it into what we want so we can just absolutely kick ass at the end of March and starting in August with the new competitions. Let's go. Good luck, everyone. I'll see you next week.